Hello， 你好，你好。
Your phone is just David.
是的，可以，谢谢。好。
刚刚拍的。
好，可以。Good. So, I was having opportunity meeting with Chinese, media people, or Chinese language media people, because basically the Tibetan problem, the solution must find between our Chinese brothers sisters and Tibetan brothers sisters. So they have, and then also now this moment, a little bit critical moment, our contact is extremely important. Otherwise, there's an unnecessary sort of anxiety or unnecessary emotions, you see, coming. So that's very sad. So I'm very, very happy having this meeting. Now at the beginning, I want to tell you my basic thinking. Although you may feel, some of you may feel waste of time. The reason I think Chinese government, you see, have the view Dalai Lama, his activities are something like spiritist activities, or sort of anti-Chinese sort of activities. So therefore, I want to make clear about my basic thinking. Now, number one, wherever I go, whenever I meet public talk, my number one commitment, number one, interest is, since everybody want happy life, successful life, for that the peaceful society, compassionate society is necessary. Now, in order to create peaceful society, compassionate society, each individual have the sort of real responsibility. Society or community means combination of individual. So if you want to create more compassionate society, peaceful society, first our individual, ourselves, should create some kind of inner peace. Through that way, we can build peaceful family, peaceful society, peaceful community. So therefore, the human compassion, human affection, which part of our nature, right? I think part of our nature, because we survived and grown up with mother's affection, mother's milk. That's fact. So therefore, everybody, you see, have the potential to show other affection. Therefore, the affection or compassion not just come later, but from the beginning we already have, you see, these potential. Therefore, I usually call human value, warm-heartedness, compassionate mind is not a religious matter. Of course, all religion also talking or carrying this message, but essentially these as a biological factor. Therefore, we really need this human value, and in order to keep this inner value more active in our mind, we need fuller knowledge, the value of these inner inner good quality. So therefore, wherever I go, number one, my commitment is promotion of human value, promotion of human compassion or warm-heartedness. Whether in India, whether in Japan, whether in Europe or America, Latin America, South Africa, everywhere, wherever I go, I always talking these things. Therefore, quite a number of people really showing genuine interest. If wherever I go, bet, these thousands of people will not come. Clear, isn't it? No. That's my number one commitment. Number two commitment, then I'm talking as a Buddhist. In this planet, there are many different religious traditions. These religious traditions, major traditions, such as Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, different Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Taoism, different traditions. All these traditions, 1,000-year old. I think between 3,000 and 2,000. I think at least it's over 1,000, then 3,000. These worked among the humanity. I think millions of people get hope and inspiration. Meantime, in the past, not only in the past, but even today, sometimes due to religious faith, more division, more conflict also happening. That's unfortunate. If religion, all these different religions, truly, simply troublemaker, no use, then from the Buddhist viewpoint, human beings should have this sort of authority, should have a right to ban, to abandon, right? To abandon. But that's not the case. The religions, various religious traditions, really providing some inner sort of also inspiration and hope. Therefore, it is worthwhile to preserve, to exist. Meantime, the conflict in the name of religion, that now we have to think about that. Therefore, they all, if you look carefully, objectively, we can see all different traditions, in spite different philosophy, basically all carry same message of love, compassion. With that is a spirit of forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline, and contentment. All religions, you see, carry these is the same way. Of course, different way of approach. The theistic religions say God, creator. Non-theistic religions say law of causality, cause and effect, like that. So therefore, same message, same potential. Therefore, there is real, sound ground to develop harmony among the different religious traditions. So, my number two commitment is promotion of religious harmony. I always believe in this respect. I think I made some contribution. Now, last few decades, the inter-religious contract, inter-religious faith. Now, every part of the world now growing. Wherever I go, I always found opportunity, big gathering of different religious traditions. Like Northern Ireland, one my visit, one occasion when my visit there, the interfaith prayer, both Catholic, Protestant. At that time, these participants, she told me, because of you, otherwise impossible in Northern Ireland, interfaith service jointly. So these are examples. I feel I made some contribution regarding promotion of religious harmony. So that's my number two commitment. Now these two commitments, till my death, I fully committed. Now third responsibility, third commitment is about Tibet. Because I am Tibetan, and furthermore, I have the name of Dalai Lama, therefore, and then most important, people, Tibetan people, inside as well as outside, majority of them truly believe me and put a lot of trust, a lot of hope. Therefore, I have the moral responsibility to help them, to serve them. However, I always make clear, I consider myself as a free spokesman for Tibetan people, not ruler. And therefore, now for example, I am simply acting according to their wish. If Tibetan people truly happy, satisfied, I will tell world, oh, we are happy, no problem. The other hand, if some problem there, some sort of resentment there, I have to tell the world as a free spokesman. The very reason why we become refugee, not natural disaster, but some political reason. So we become political asylum. 1959, March 17th night, I left Assam, in my autobiography, autobiography, I mentioned all these things. Whether you know or not, I don't know. We simply thinking or concerning about Tibet, Tibetan people's right. We are not thinking about, old sort of system. The Chinese government always accuse us, we are trying to restore old feudal system. Nobody outside Tibet, as well as inside Tibet, I think that no Tibetan hoping or thinking restoration of old system. We ourselves knows that's outdated. Nobody wants to outdated system to return, restore. Even Dalai Lama institution is concerned. As early as 1969, I officially, publicly made clear that very institution of Dalai Lama should continue or not up to Tibetan people. It is not my concern. Sometimes in the West particularly, have the impression Dalai Lama institution is something very important for Tibetan Buddhism. It is not. Tibetan Buddhism, since 7th century, 8th century, Tibetan Buddhism start more than 1,000 years. Dalai Lama institution about last, I think 500 years. So Dalai Lama institution, one time come, one time will go. So I often, telling people, when majority of Tibetan people feel Dalai Lama institution is not much relevant, then the Dalai Lama institution automatically will cease. No problem. Tibetan Buddhism will remain. Then since I think last 300 years, Dalai Lama institution become the head of both temple as well as religion. Now that since I took the responsibility at the age 16-year-old, I already started reform. 52, we set up a reform committee. Mr. Ngabu Awanjingmi, the head of that reform committee. Some reforms, some measure of reform already take place. Then 59, after we reach India, at once we start work for democratization. Then since 2001, we already have elected political leadership. Every 5 years, the election among Tibetan community take place. Now present political leadership, now his second term. So since then, my position is semi-retired position. Every important decision is not in my hand, but in his hand. I'm acting like senior advisor. Then 1992, another my public statement, officially, I stated, when the day come of our return with certain degree of freedom, I will hand it over all my legitimate authority to the local government. Tibetan local government, then I'm no longer any sort of responsibility, complete retirement. Even we remain outside another few more years, I'm looking forward to complete retirement. So my third responsibility is limited time, and not so volunteer like that. So these three commitments I keep in my mind. So that's something like my introduction about myself. Since you see some media people from the different section of Chinese community, so I thought maybe good. So that's all. Now questions. Only political questions, I think. Yes.
From Radio Free Asia Mandarin Service. Your Holiness, I'd like to know what do you think of the feverish nationalism now present in China?
What?
The feverish nationalism.
Feverish. Oh.
Nationalism in China now since the Tibetan
Yes.
uprising.
Oh.
What do you think of it?
That's right. Everybody, you see, there's some kind of patriotic sort of attitude towards one's own sort of nation. It's naturally. But go extreme, then either too much emotions, then not good. I think one time, again, some kind of the strong nationalistic sort of view towards, some kind of against Japanese, some time ago, isn't it? A few years ago. So that kind of course, the patriotic sort of attitude is right, but go too extreme, then sometimes it becomes blind. Or too much emotion. That's not good. Yes?
Hubert Lu, reporter from Zhouwei Times. I have questions regarding the Tibetan Youth Congress. According to them, you are their spiritual leader. I was wondering, how would you describe your relationship with them? And what are the influence you have on this group of young people? And in March, you have spoken to the public. If the violence continues, you will totally resign.
That's right.
But it's not correct. Okay. Do you think you are losing control over them? And another thing is, how do you see their future?
Their future?
Yes.
Youth.
Yes. Well, the Tibetan Youth Congress. How do you see their future?
Any society, any community, youth is very important. However, Tibetan Youth Organization eventually their political stand then you see it become different than our position, particularly around 74. We made up in our mind sooner or later we have to talk with central government. So the question of independence is out of question. Then we made up in our mind in Dharamsala with small group of the leaders, we decided now when there's some direct contact comes, then our position is not seeking independence, but genuine autonomy. which Chinese Constitution or Constitution of People's Republic of China provided. And also the autonomous region of Tibet is concerned, the liberation through negotiation, 17-point agreement, through that way Tibet liberated. So therefore, in early 50s, the Chinese leaders, Chairman Mao Zedong, Zhou Enlai, all these people emphasize Tibet case is something unique case. For example, 1956, Buddha Jayanti celebration, I was in India. The Zhou Enlai and Fu Zhongli, one of the Fu Zhongli, Holong, came to Delhi. I also met, have the audience, and then also the India's Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, met. At that time, Zhou Enlai told Indian Prime Minister, and me too, the Tibet case, the central government consider not like any other ordinary Chinese provinces. Tibet case is something very special case. So we, that time, 1974, we decide, now try to discuss with central government when opportunity comes, on the basis of the Constitution provided these rights. Then eventually the word, go outside, go among the Tibetan community. Then criticism, we should fight for independence. So then youth organization eventually stand that kind of aim. So then differ. Whenever we met, I always made clear, you are Tibetan youth, you are patriotic, okay, very good. But you have very, very important role for preservation of Tibetan culture, Tibetan spirituality. Now political matter is concerned, now we have different. We, autonomy, fight for autonomy. You fighting for independence. From our viewpoint, your stand is unrealistic. Right from the beginning, we made clear. And they also, they recognize differences. So then control. Control means, what do you mean control?
I'll say influence.
Now, for example, one occasion, meeting youth group, I told them, Chinese government, central government, wants me to catch you, arrest here, and put in jail. That I cannot do. Firstly, we are in free country, democratic country. And secondly, I myself fully committed democracy. So therefore, I cannot, and I do not want to say, shut up. It is your freedom. Express. What is your view? So now, for example, I think some of you, noticed the Shugden group. They won't listen. My advice. They are very, very critical towards me. They are very angry towards me. I cannot control these people. I cannot push them in prison. So I think influence of Dalai Lama among Tibetan, I don't know. I think as far as the political view is concerned, I think, you see, sometimes a little the shorter way. I think less influence. And also in the like religious matter, like Shungden, they also don't listen. So like that. I welcome. And this is some Tibetan directly criticize me. I welcome them. So therefore, and also some Tibetan criticize Tibetan Buddhism. I welcome them. I cannot stop them. This is their freedom. So long, non-violent way, or Shungden case, they also practice violence, murder case, beating, and threatening. So some local Indian police clearly recorded all these cases like that. So, now next question.
As you always stated that you are not seeking independence.
That's right.
You are seeking complete autonomy.
That's right.
But the Youth Congress, I think I once interviewed an official from the Congress. They said that they are seeking independence.
That's right.
And as you said, you are very democratic. You won't let them shut down.
Yes.
So some scholars say that this group of people that the Chinese government are most afraid of. Most afraid of.
Yeah.
Because they are seeking independence for Tibet. What's your comments on that?
I don't think the Chinese government much afraid. small group. I don't think. Then also I think one example, before 10th March crisis happened, the youth, including youth organization and also some few other organizations, I think 5 organizations, you see, they organized peace walk up to Tibetan border, up to Tibet. And then, and government of India, any sort of demonstration or peace walk within India, let's say India as a democratic country, so no problem. But go to the Chinese border, so Sino-Indian border, then government of India, you see the very much concerned. So the government of India asked me. Then I call some of these sort of people, 5 organizations, which is people. I called them. Then I told. That's before 10 March. I called them. Now demonstrations within India. Okay, no problem. But peace walk beyond Sino-Indian border, then it's a problem. So no use. And I told clearly to them, go to beyond Indian border, almost like suicide. No use, no help. I told them. But meantime, I made clear, whether you listen or not, up to you. My moral responsibility, make clear to you the negative consequences. So, it is my duty to tell you clearly. I told them. Then, at that time, afterwards, it seems they dropped that plan. Now again, we heard the middle of April. Now they again start that peace walk up to the border. Up to the border, across the border. And I understand our administration Dharamsala, I think, give clear warning to them. So, I don't know. Now, day after tomorrow, I reach India, so I will say. Yes.
Hi, meeting from World Journal.
Oh,
From World Journal.
what is it? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I have a question regarding to your announcement today.
Appeal. Oh,
Okay, appeal.
to the Buddhists.
Okay.
Oh,
There's a
I think the spiritual people in general, particularly Buddhist, in mainland China,
Okay.
or Chinese people. Yes.
Okay. You say that during the march, there are several Buddhists who are arrested,
Yes.
and the 寺庙 go forcibly closed.
Smell. Do.
And you say this violence seems authorized by the Chinese central government. So this is based on your understanding or not? And why do you get this conclusion?
So we got that kind of information. Although, you see, we have no opportunity to cross-check. But we got that kind of information. So now, most important is, we earnestly appeal to international community as well as the Chinese sort of government, please allow media people freely in this area. Please carry thorough investigation, not simply relying on the information from government sources. Unfortunately, the totalitarian government propaganda sometimes, you see, a little bit too extreme. I think now the Chinese government still, you see, telling world Dalai Lama still seeking independence. But the world knows we are not seeking independence. So that's why some Tibetans very, very critical. If we truly seeking independence, then there's no reason to criticize by those Tibetans. And also some of our friends also, as well. In India also, some of our friends, our supporters, is very, very critical about our stand. But the Chinese government still, you see, they intensified accusation, we're seeking independence or separation. So what is the basis of their what is it? Their view. And also, you see, this sort of crisis inside Tibet, the Chinese government, even Prime Minister, you see, they stated all these crises is start or create from India, from me. So now, please, including yourself, go to Tibet, all those area, troubled area, and thorough investigation. That's my appeal. And Xinhua is not your way. Very good. I think if you have the opportunity or the liberty, go to Tibet. And all these 4 Chinese provinces, Yunnan, Sichuan, Gansu, Qinghai province. Generally speaking, about 4 million Tibetans in this area. It is outside autonomous region of Tibet. So the major crisis, you see, happen in this area. So that's the only my comment or response. Please go there thorough investigation. Yes.
So I'm following.
And also I mentioned at press meeting in Dharamsala, I also invite some Chinese, including some Chinese officials, welcome to Dharamsala, thorough investigation, whether we instigate, whether we that word I cannot pronounce properly.
Instigated.
Whether we created this crisis or not. Please, thorough investigation. Yes, next question.
Sorry, I'm following.
Yes.
So do you know, based on your understanding, how many got arrested? You say there's still got some arrested people still in the jail.
Yes.
So do you know how many got arrested?
I don't know. You see, different place, and particularly some of these monasteries and village, very remote area, very difficult to get clear information. So you see these, scattered different places, so very difficult to make the conclusion, very difficult. So that's why, you see, for our own interest, it is very, very essential, you see, the independent sort of investigation is very, very necessary. I think to the central government also, I think it is, useful. This is someone who independently investigate and then clear report to the central government. I think helpful, necessary. Otherwise, you see, there's some local officials. Now, for example, the party secretary in autonomous region of Tibet, a few months ago, you see, he expressed Tibetan people. Now, so much sort of appreciate about Communist Party. So Tibetan people now consider the Communist Party as a Buddha. So the central government naturally, you see, receive these such sort of information. So actually, you see, Tibetans are Buddhist. So now Buddhists revolting or complaining to Buddha. I think unbiased, objective investigation is very, very helpful, even for the central government. I think very important.
Hu Xiaohui from Minpao Daily News.
Minpao.
Yeah, Minpao. So I have a question. So you repeatedly say that you are not seeking for
Yes.
independence.
Yes.
So everybody heard and everybody knows.
Yes.
But is any possibility that means that you have done, you are doing, and you will do? Is there any open the door for future independence of Tibet after you pass away? Is there any possibility?
Oh yes. The other, I think in last year in Washington, we had some seminar, some Chinese scholars, some from mainland China. So this question is to come. So what is the guarantee Tibet forever remain the People's Republic of China? I told them, if I made some sort of, signature, only paper, may not real guarantee. On this planet, there's a lot of agreement, lot of sort of, treaties, but often you see things differently happen. So the real guarantee Tibet always remain within the people from China is the Chinese government and officials must provide deep satisfaction to Tibetan people. Like Scottish people and Wales and also the Canada, Quebec. The people which are satisfied feel greater opportunity and greater sort of benefit, prosperity if they remain within the like Quebec within Canada, and also Welsh. There are people who really want separation, and Scotland as well, Scottish people. But when you see but majority people are really appreciate a part of Great Britain. So, like that, majority of Tibetan people really feel happy, satisfied. Then, of course, few individuals may create sort of the rumors or talks about independence or separation, but not much effect. So that's the real guarantee. Therefore, we are always telling Tibetan remain within the People's Republic of China is our own interest. Tibet, materially backward, very poor country. Therefore, and meantime, we really want more development, more material development, more modernization. For that reason, Tibet remain within the People's Republic of China. We get greater benefit as far as material development is concerned. Provided, since we have our unique cultural heritage and including our language, script, therefore, we should have certain arrangement which full guarantee to preserve Tibetan culture, Tibetan Buddhism, including Tibetan language. So the meaningful autonomy, genuine autonomy, the other music and the music outside, music of that.
关于简单说
好的。
那个中国政府发表的关于民主的白皮书，民主政策白皮书。
Oh, wonderful! If thorough sort of implementation on the spot, according to that document, there will be no problem. So that's I told at that meeting, and I will repeat that to you.
I have a question about Mike here from Singapore Daily, and I have a question about how to think about your inclination, about your perception, and if he is born in China, if he is born in China, what do you think about his destiny, and do you think that is there any possibility that will be two Dalai Lama, the 15th Dalai Lama, in the future after he passed away, and do you think that he will be making the situation more confused or chaos after that?
Actually, as I mentioned before, the Dalai Lama Institute should continue or not up to Tibetan people. If I die within the next 1 week, then perhaps I think most probably Tibetan want another sort of reincarnation of Dalai Lama. But if I die after the few decades, then situation may be as such. Now Dalai Lama institution no longer sort of necessary to continue. Okay. So since many years, I always used to mention, if I think 500 years sort of institution, Dalai Lama institution, cease at my time is all of that. So, on 14th Dalai Lama, I used to say, that's good. The 14th Dalai Lama, certainly not best Dalai Lama, but not worst, not disgraced Dalai Lama. So the century-old institution ceased at such sort of period. Dalai Lama institution ceased gracefully, right? Gracefully. Isn't it? So in case, you see, the Tibetan people and also some other concerned people like Mongolia, and also in India also is many Buddhists, many Tibetan Buddhists. So therefore, they feel this institution should continue, and also the way, the traditional way to choose reincarnation, to find reincarnation. In that case, people, this possibility, you see, people may choose one reincarnation in outside China, and then Chinese government, naturally, they already make some preparation for reincarnation of Dalai Lama. So therefore, they will choose another one. So it becomes like two pension lamas. So more complicated. So sometimes some Chinese sort of officials, I think, fond is to create more controversy. Like that. So, yes.
My question is, you are against violence. You are against violence.
Yes.
You champion non-violence.
Yes.
But you have stopped short of condemning the violent attacks that happened
I always condemned this word. I never, in Iraq case, the 2000, September 11th event, I never used the contamination. Right. I always express my sadness. I totally sort of oppose. These words I usually used to say. Now, condemn, because of the condemnation, right? Condemn, this word somehow related with hatred, anger. As a Buddhist, I always keep compassion towards everybody. So criticism, opposition is much better. It's more realistic. Today's enemy, next day, may become friend. So that possibility should open. Now here, the violence. Now another, I think, example. When Indo-Pakistan conflict happened, there's some Indian religious leader make on prayer for those Indian soldier killed. At that meeting, I also participated. Then I expressed, here, as a spiritual person, we also should pray those killed of Pakistan soldier. Same human being. That's my principle. So now here, I think my maximum sort of what's it, maximum sort of what's it, opposition. So I done you see maximum way to against violence and try to cool down. I done maximum way. Now further question? Do you have further question? Oh, yes.
Since March, the international community has called.
Yes. What?
Since March, international community has called for dialogue between the government in exile and the Chinese government. I was wondering whether there's any form of closed-door dialogue between your representatives and the Chinese government.
No. As you know, I appealed to the highest leader, people from China. I wrote letter 19th and sent the letter 20th March. That's all. And some contact, yes.
There is some contact.
Some contact, yes.
How?
How? We are human beings, same human beings, so some contact and talk, not dialogue.
In what form? Contact, you mean? Call, telephone calls, or?
Sometimes individuals.
Between some individuals, your representatives and Chinese government.
Some Tibetan sort of officials. And some cases with the Chinese, I think individual businessmen, or some cases, I think some Chinese officials. But this moment, I think essentially, no serious discussion, clear. Simply mere meeting, and they express usually scolding us. You create this problem. You have the responsibility, that kind of. We just listen, they are scold. Like that. So that's it is dialogue. Do you consider just a meeting and you see receive a lot of criticism, a lot of sort of, I'll say scold? It is dialogue? Then no dialogue.
It has been 6 years since Hu Jintao took the leadership.
Yes.
And people think you have made observation about him for probably a very long period of time. I'm just wondering, do you think he's disappointed you?
Disappointed?
No.
One thing, he seems to say making decision rush way, very cautious way. I think that's very good. The people from China, 1.3 billion population, and a lot of problems. So the leadership, more cautious way, cautious approach, is I think good way. Then his emphasis, the building harmonious society. I fully support that. I usually, I sort of, according to my observation or my experience, since People's Republic of China established 4 eras, Number one era, Mao's era. Mao's era, the emphasis, importance of ideology. Now cultural revolution or these things take place because of importance of ideology. Then Deng Xiaoping's era. Deng Xiaoping's era, emphasis, importance of economy. Doesn't matter market-oriented economy or socialist economy, doesn't matter so long as the country can be rich. I think that also, that I think brought some drawbacks, such as gap rich and poor. In a socialist country, this gap, poor, rich and poor, is unthinkable, but it happened now. And also, all levels, a lot of corruptions. I think the Chinese people, generally speaking, now seems talking only money, 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 money. You see, forgetting the deeper human value. That's unfortunate. But meantime, the Deng Xiaoping sort of the policy, emphasis importance of economy, really changed, transformed China. So, lot of good things also there. Now, third, Jiang Zemin era. Now, new reality, Laodong Renmin, not only Laodong Renmin, but those, say, the middle class people, middle class people, and also wealthy people also become important part of the society. Therefore, now the Communist Party no longer just a party of the Laodong Renmin. Communist Party should represent all new community. So here's the concept of 3 represent. I think realistic, very realistic. Whether truly can represent or not, that's a different question. But at least you see, theoretically that view is, I think, correct. Then the 4th era, Wu Jintao. Now emphasis, importance of harmony. Although in the Tiananmen, the全国人民大团结万岁 isn't it? 全国人民大团结 I think last now 60 years repeated that 万岁万岁万岁 but still need some effort for harmony. So that means the Wu Jintao now really means genuine 大团结. It's excellent, really neat, very neat. Now I always expressing my view that the real 大团结 must come from heart, voluntarily, not out of fear, under gun. That is not 大团结. That's important. So now main thing, now these 4 era looks or shows the leadership realistic, generally speaking. New situation, new reality comes, accordingly new policy, new concept. It's a sign of realistic. So therefore, I'm very, very hopeful. The trend of the leadership's thinking, or Communist Party's thinking, more and more now, more realistic way. This is real hopeful sign. I was told, many, my friends, including many Chinese, now in mainland China, they, unlike during Mao's time, or I think during Mao's time, the criticism, the leadership. Now in Peking or Shanghai, in this area, in restaurant, usually people, you see, they just express these sort of criticism, isn't it? And some form of different articles. Also now, more and more articles. In Mao's time, and even I think the Deng Xiaoping's time, Dazbo somewhere. Dazbo. A few moments, Dazbo. Then move. So, generally, things are changing. So the People's Republic of China, basically, in the state of transition, right? Transition. It's really hopeful. So the 大团结, 全国人民大团结, and also 汉藏大团结, I fully committed 汉藏大团结. 真正的大团结是后来。真正我们从真正的大团结。And I also fully support 稳定。我也很相当支持稳定。Without stability, how can you develop education and prosperity, these things? So stability, very, very important. Stability, again, you see, under gun. Like I think Zhang Xilin's sort of expression, 下回啊，谁给你don't do一下的。如果在香港下来不会是稳定，像张庆林所讲的那样，西藏地区单位该杀杀，该打的打，该堵的堵。So he, I think, seems to see if this was the information is correct, then you see he seems still relying, manipulate fear, human fear. That's wrong. Out of fear, some stability is artificial. Won't last long. So genuine stability must come from heart, based on trust. That's very essential.
In an interview with Asia Week, sometime we say that of the shops that were burned in March, many of them were places where prostitution where prostitution were involved. The local their investigation is the case of the businesses, some owned by Han Chinese, some owned by Tibetan Chinese, some owned by other Hui Chinese, and they are in different sectors: manufacturing, wholesale, retail, catering, cultural, sports. My question is, do you think that by saying so, are you hurting the feeling of some of the victims that died in the attacks, including Tibetan people that were hurt in that?
Yes, I mentioned earlier. Chinese, or Han Chinese, or Tibetan, or Hui. Same. Of course. These are totally wrong. But now, you see here, the problem, demonstration started 10th March afternoon. Right? Oh. But these happened 14th day. Oh. So, 10th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, demonstration continue. But seems to be peaceful. So in any way, I think we really need thorough investigation. Thorough investigation. Those, I'm frankly speaking, your own newspapers report, not very reliable. All the report according to the political sort of motivation. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Now I think finally, I again just want to repeat. We are not anti-Chinese. 100% sure. Second, we are not seeking independence. Sure. We fully support Olympic Games right from the beginning. No change. Still, I fully support. In my appeal, I mentioned the over billion Chinese brothers sisters really feel proud of that. So we must respect that.
Do you want to attend or join the Olympics?
Under present circumstances, I'm splittist and also the creator of all these problems. Therefore, I'm criminal, Maria. I'm criminal. So how can I go there?
But do you want to?
What?
Do you want to?
Personally, yes, of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
什么地方？
江苏人。
江苏。
谢谢。
好嘞。Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Meet you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another interview.
Thank you. Thank you.